It is saying going live. Looks like we are live. Welcome, Armwrestling fans. I'm Pradeep from Armwrestling News, and today I have Chan Shaw as our guest right before his match against Todd Hutchings. How are you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great. Thanks for having me, Pradeep. How are you?
I'm doing fine as well. I was kind of lazy on YouTube, but today I've already uploaded 3 videos, and I just uploaded my thoughts or prediction video about your upcoming match about 5 minutes ago. I'm sure you haven't watched it yet.
No,
So yeah,
just haven't taken it yet.
today has been a great day on YouTube so far for me. So, for how much time were you in Sweden training for this match? I'm assuming you were there to train for this match in particular, or just to
Yeah, so
train in
I've been
general?
there. I've been there for 10 weeks. So I was there to train for both Sandris and this match.
Okay, since then. So
Yeah,
let us first read a few of the comments that have been posted on this video before this match. Simon A, I love Chan Shaw. What a great guy. Wish I've met him. So
well,
some
thank
love
you.
already in the chat.
Yeah, thank you. I'll take it.
Yeah. So Chance, I've linked all the platforms that Chan Shaw is on, all the social media handles, and the link tree link, it is great, like all the social media handles in just one link. So please check that out. Subscribe to Chan Shaw's YouTube channel. So brother, tell us something about the event, the pay-per-view event. Where is it and where can we watch it?
Yeah, so the event is at the Kellogg Arena in Battle Creek, Michigan. It's Michigan State Championships. The pay-per-view is going to be on armsporthub.com. It's $5, and I believe it starts at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right, $5. I've already bought it, but do you believe, Chance, that for some reason it is kind of under promoted? I'm not sure if many people still know about it. Is it because King of the Table is falling on the same date? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a big reason on why it's under promoted. Is unfortunately it wasn't. I mean, fortunately at the beginning it wasn't on the same day as any other event, and then for whatever reason, King of the Table had to reschedule, and now sadly it falls on the same day, but it's not the same time. So you can watch this, and then directly after you can watch King of the Table. So you can still watch both.
So yes, I think the time is 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay,
$5 pay-per-view on Arm Sports Hub. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Right. So, Chance, you are one of the biggest underdogs in this match. I created a poll on my YouTube channel and I have never seen such a one sided poll. Almost 1,000 votes. And can you guess what percentage you got in that poll?
Yeah, I voted on it, and I think I was at like 2%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2% in 1,000 votes. I have never seen anything like that. So, what do you have to say to those 98% people who do not believe in you?
Well, I mean, I definitely agree that I am an underdog, but not 98% underdog. Like that seems a bit extreme. I am coming off 2 losses, so I understand the thought process, but I have been very, very dedicated. I've never been so dedicated to arm wrestling over the last 10 weeks compared to uh, the 6 or 7 years before that. So the version of me that people are going to see on Saturday is a version that they have not seen before. When I pulled Sandris, I was only a couple weeks into the training program. I've been working with Brandon Allen. Now everything's starting to click. All my gym numbers are going way up. My body fat is coming down, but my weight isn't really fluctuating too much. I'm still like 296 pounds. Um, I have done everything I possibly can do to prepare for this match with Todd Hutchings, and I have a few lanes that I'm going to test out. A lot of people think that I'm only going to try to low hand top roll, and if it doesn't work, then I'm screwed. But of course, when you have 10 weeks to prep for someone, and you have time to come up with a game plan, and you have a great team behind you, you should come more prepared than one move, and that's what I'm prepared to do is find a different lane if I need to.
Right. And Chance, I believe that it is kind of easy to say that, well, I want the most prepared version of my opponent. Everybody says that. But when your opponent is Todd Hutchings, you do not even need to mention that. You know that he is going to come in 100% prepared. That man is like the top number one perfectionist in my opinion in arm wrestling world. Like everything, he has everything planned out, all the reps, all the sets that he's going to do, the melatonin, the amount of melatonin, and the time at which he's going to take it before the match so that he can sleep well during the night. Everything has planned out. Does that bother you or scare you a little bit?
Not at all. I mean, that's what I want. I don't want to ever face an opponent where if I beat them, everyone's like, oh, well, here there's, oh, well, nothing. We all know Todd has been training. He's on a win streak. Everyone knows. I mean, you can follow him on his YouTube channel. He's been training and peaking. And I mean, like you said, all of his reps and sets and weights and melatonin or whatever he's going to take, everything is very planned out. So I prefer that. I don't want anyone to have any questions. If I'm able to pull out the upset, I want it to be, okay, Chance pulled out the upset. No questions.
Right. You mentioned your training, your gym lifts are going up and you're leaner right now, which is clear. I saw your recent photo that you posted and you're definitely looking leaner than before. So
Thank you.
you recently joined Brendan Allen's training program. So what exactly Brendan is helping you with? I'm kind of not believing that he's training you about arm wrestling because you know more than that about Brendan. So I'm assuming it is about general strength training or powerlifting programs.
100% correct. Yeah, obviously he's not giving me arm wrestling advice on how to become a better arm wrestler.
Maybe King's move advice he can give you.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he knows more about the King's move than me, but I'm not a King's mover. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. So he is working with me on general strength. I think it's something that I have been overlooking for a really long time, and it's something that definitely applies to the table. Of course, if I already have my technique down, I know what I'm going to do, but I can be 10, 15% stronger doing the same thing. It's going to help. I don't see how it won't help. So over the last 8 weeks, I've just been training, my 4 main movements, which is bench, squat, deadlift, and overhead press. I'm training all the accessories as well. And of course, I'm still getting in arm wrestling specific training with cables, pronation and cupping and all things like that, as well as table time. So I'm not just doing powerlifting, but powerlifting has become a big part of what I'm doing in the gym, just trying to be the strongest version of myself.
All right. So I've also seen that you have kind of distanced yourself from social media, at least from YouTube. I've seen you have not really posted anything on YouTube. Is it because of your preparation? You mentally want to be really focused towards that one goal only, or are there some other reasons as well?
No, absolutely. I mean, that's the only reason. I was posting pretty consistently, at least once or twice a week. For the majority of the time I was in Sweden. The last 4 weeks, I haven't posted really anything, just because it's the most important 4 weeks leading up to the event. So now it's time to, it was time to sit down and focus. And the only thing going through my head was, what am I training today? And what am I eating today? And when do I get to go to sleep? Nothing else really mattered. So now, of course, I'm in the rest week. Now I sit down and make a video or do a live, and it's a bit easier because I don't have anything going on. I'm just resting.
So I'm able to see that some guys are still asking when is the match, where can they see it. So the match is on April 2nd, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the link to buy the pay-per-view is in the description. It is a $5 pay-per-view, and please give Chance Show a follow as well. So Jeren Tille is ask Chance if he pulled in Swedish nationals.
Yeah, I did not pull in Swedish nationals. I actually left the day before Swedish nationals, but I don't think that I would be allowed to pull in Swedish nationals. I asked a few people, and they said, you're pretty sure you have to be a Swedish citizen.
Okay. That's the requirement. I think that is the requirement in most of the cases, because in India, they are also going to organize a Pro Punja League Nationals event. And they have also said that only Indian nationals are allowed, but they are looking for a super match. Foreigners only super match. The guys who are outside of India. So they are looking for that.
Tell them to give me a call, Pradeep.
For sure. And Mrs. Monster, Rebecca Todd, welcome to the chat. She's saying that need to get Chance and Michael in a bench off for reps. You think you can take on Michael, Todd?
Yeah, so Michael and I actually talked, because I don't know if you know, but Michael's also training Brandon Allen's program now. So comparing our numbers, it's actually really close. I think it would be pretty competitive.
Okay. So thanks Pradeep. People are thanking me for asking their questions. Let's move on to what Todd Hutchings said about this match. It was
Mhm.
kind of surprising. Todd said that he's going to top roll you. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, it's that'd be really interesting if he tried the top roll. I mean, I know he's been training it a bit, but uh if he really is gonna show up and try to top roll me, he's not taking me very seriously. Which is too bad because I have taken this match extremely serious. If he tries to top roll, I don't see it going very well for him. I don't think that he can beat me top roll to top roll. I just don't see it happening. Of course, he has other lanes like hook to hook. Obviously, I wouldn't really stand a chance. But top roll to top roll, I feel pretty confident about it.
All right, that's good to hear. Maybe because everyone has been saying about you that it is really extremely difficult to hook Shaw. Do you
Mhm.
think that could be the reason why he may be thinking about a top roll?
Yeah, I mean, maybe so. If you look at my last few matches, I lost to John and Sanders because they top rolled me, and when they hooked me, I, I mean, when I hooked them, rather, it went well, but neither of them could set a hook in a good position where they wanted it to. So maybe that's the reason. I don't know what's going through Todd's head.
So you have said in the past that you believe that you have the style to beat Todd Hutchings. But every other pro that I hear, they always keep on saying that Shaw does not have the style to beat Todd Hutchings. So what exactly is the style thing in this match? Please explain it to beginners like me that are not able to understand it clearly by themselves.
Sure. So, in my opinion, a lot of people are just looking at it as like low hand top roll versus hook. And with that math, low hand top roll should always win. Um, but with Todd Hutchings, it's a little bit more complicated than that because you can low hand top roll, but if you over pronate and crack his wrist too much, he's able to jam his wedge and drive sideways. Especially if you hit outside of your own shoulder. So if you're driving and you hit here like Matt Mask did in WAL, it's not going to be a good day because Todd sets the wedge and drives. Um, my style's a little bit different than Matt. It's not so explosive and straight back and side, and I don't get outside of my shoulder as much as he does typically. So I think the best style to beat Todd Hutchings would be someone like Jordan Sill. If you watch Jordan Sill pull him, I think it was December of 19, if I'm not mistaken. Jordan, what he does is he low hand top rolls, but he controls the hand outside of the straps, holds on and pins him. When you can control it outside of the straps, it's a lot harder for Todd Hutchings to set his wedge. So do I think that I have the style? I don't have quite the same grip strength as Jordan Sill, but I think that I have a bit more back pressure and side pressure based off of the few times that I've arm wrestled Jordan Sill. So I definitely do think that I have the style. It's just a matter of number one, can I keep him out of the straps? And number two, am I strong enough to pin him?
All right. So we have Michael or Mikhail, I think his name is, from Ukraine. Hi everyone from Ukraine. Good luck to Chance. Just take his wrist and go sideways. 3-0. Smiling emojis after that.
Hey, I hope so. I hope that's the case.
And brother, if you can by any chance hook me up with any Ukrainian athletes like Prudnik or Rostam or Oleg Petrenko, maybe you can translate. I would also love to get them on my show as well. Maybe they can explain what the situation for arm wrestlers is currently in their country. That would be interesting and necessary to know for the entire arm wrestling community. So, Chance, what about the head rub? If that happens, I'm not. Let's hope that it does not happen. But are you going to avoid that because Todd Hutchings has right now transformed himself into Todd Father? People have started calling him Todd Father after that head rub.
Yeah.
So if that moment comes, are you going to avoid it? Or are you going to just back
No,
off
of course
after the third
not.
round?
If he wins, I think he's earned the right to rub my head. I'm okay with that. But if I win, I'm gonna try to rub his bald head. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Someone's head is
Right.
getting rubbed.
So, can you tell us something more about the promoter? Who is the promoter? A little shout out to him as well.
Yeah, so Steve Pettis is the promoter. He runs Michigan State every year for the past good bit, at least as long as I've been in arm wrestling. I know someone else had done it before him back in the 80s or something like that. But Steve Pettis has been doing Michigan States and a few other tournaments for quite a long time. So last year I won the Michigan States. I was supposed to have a super match with Ron. Ron had to cancel a couple weeks before. So I flew up to Michigan because in my opinion, I've always heard that it's one of, if not the best state championship. I went to it, and it is, in my opinion, the best state championship. I ended up winning that. So Steve Pettis reached out to me a few months ago and was like, "All right, Chance, I want to give you a super match. Who do you want?" And so here we are. So big thanks to Steve for putting on an amazing event, and setting me up with the super match.
All right. And Muhammad Sajid Abbas is saying Chance might have a chance because he gave some fight to John last year, which was not his best form, as he's saying, which is also evident. I think he might take a round, just put a good fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely showing up, like I've said 100 times probably. I'm showing up in my best form, and I'm showing up and leaving everything on the table. So don't worry about putting up a good fight. I'll do my best to do so.
And let's talk about your previous matches for a bit. Todd Hutchings is coming off of a two huge wins, like 6-0
Three,
against
right?
Lachlan Adair, 3, right? So the Corey West match was after Zoloev match?
Yes,
Okay, right. Three big wins. 3-1, 3-2 against Corey West and 6-0 against Lachlan Adair. And after that, in the East versus West event, 3-0 against Lachlan, against Jordan Sonev. And on the other hand, you are coming off two losses, if I remember correctly.
correct.
3-1 you lost against John Brazink, and then East versus West 3-0. So if that momentum continues, is it going to hurt your brand, your social media image, if you lose three in a row?
Um, I don't think it's going to hurt any more than two in a row, right? Like some people that aren't really following me too closely, and they just know a little bit. They already see my last two losses, and they've kind of lost faith. I don't think a third loss is going to do me any more harm than the first two. But the alternative, the win, is going to be a huge win for me. So I think my risk to reward on this is pretty good, in my opinion. But if I lose, I have one other super match planned, but besides that, I'm gonna have to, in my opinion, take a step back, focus on training, hit a few tournaments, build some more momentum, and then after winning a few tournaments, beating some good names in tournaments, I think it's back to super matches 2023. If I lose, if I win, who knows what's gonna happen.
Chance, what I am thinking about this match, many people are saying that you have nothing to lose in this match. But I do think that, like, when you're young, it is really good. Like Michael Todd, Angin was saying, cannot afford to lose 2 or 3 matches in a row. But a young guy like you who is 23, 24 years old, you can afford to do that because you have your entire life ahead of you, entire career ahead of you. But still, when everyone, 98% people are telling you that you are going to lose, and you are saying otherwise, you're not saying that you're going to win that match 100% for sure, but you're saying that you believe you have a chance. If you were to lose in this match, then suddenly everyone is going to jump on board and saying told you so, things like that. So I
Mhm.
definitely think that this could hurt your image. Like, people will be saying things like they knew better, like they knew the result of this match beforehand. So I think there is something to that. It is never like, when people say there is nothing to lose, there is definitely something to lose for a young guy like you in this match, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, there's something to lose. There's something to gain as well. But I mean, it's easy to pick a match that on paper is easy to pick the winner and say I told you so if that ends up happening. But it's a lot harder to pick the one that is not supposed to win, the underdog. And those 2%, if I win, I think that I think that they'll be really proud of me. So really, ultimately, Pradeep, I'm doing this for myself. I'm doing this to push and test my limits, and so I can see where I'm at and I can progress. Right, I've already faced two great top rollers, being John and Sandris. Although they have other lanes, that's the lane they used to beat me. Now I get to face a great inside puller, and I get to see how I do with that. So after these three matches, however the outcome is on Saturday, I'm going to have a lot of information. It's going to knock me back a bit for a little bit, but it's not going to hurt me personally, and it's not going to stop my growth. Like you said, I have all the time in the world, but again, I don't plan on losing. I'm coming in very, very, very well prepared, strength wise, endurance wise. I don't have any aches or pains, no types of injuries. I have no excuses, and I have a really good game plan. So I am here to win, but even if it doesn't happen, I'm comfortable either way.
So people are saying Chance needs more training and experience. He's only 23, 24 years old. What do you think? What is the ideal age? What is the average age, I would ask, where the arm wrestler peaks?
Yeah, that's hard. Like if you look at the West, I would say like 40 maybe. You have Devin who's in his 40s, Michaels who's in his 40s, Hutchings is in his 50s, Brzezink's in his 50s, Bresnan's in his 50s, Ron Bath is 60. Like all of our top guys are 40 or older. But if you look at the East, it seems to be late 20s. So I don't know why that is. I can't, I don't have a good answer for you. Maybe it's a training style. Maybe they go a lot harder, so they peak a lot earlier and they fall off faster. Maybe, I don't know exactly, but yeah, I don't know how to answer the question appropriately. For me, I would think that I'm probably not going to hit my peak until I'm closer to my late 20s, early 30s, if I had to guess. But who knows? It could be next year.
Right. So 217 Brad Cook is in the house. Please subscribe to 217, guys. This event is going to be good. Thank you very much, brother. Jason Latona, just showing some love. Nice interview, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Jason. So next up, I would like to ask you some questions from the chat.
All right.
I hope there are some questions in the chat. If PL has banned Russian, so do you have any stance about the banning of Russian athletes from PL? Like for them, I think for them it makes sense. Like Ukrainians banning Russians makes sense. But should everyone ban Russian athletes? This is the question.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I haven't followed it too closely, but I did see something along the lines of the Russian team or the Russian Federation were wearing the Z shirts, which is like in supporting the war in Ukraine. So I could see based off of that why they would get banned. If that didn't happen, then I think like maybe not. It's not like Leighton is out there like trying to blow up Ukraine or something crazy like that. So why is he being punished, or all the Russian athletes? But because they decided to wear the Z shirts, if my information is correct, that supports the war in Ukraine, I think that's where it becomes a little iffy on whether or not they should be banned.
All right. So Lieutenant Scrotus is asking, is this match on arm bets?
It's not on arm bets. Devin asked for it to be on arm bets, but I'm like, let's not do arm bets this time. I have 2 losses. Wait till I start winning, and then I'll feel comfortable promoting to my family and friends to bet money on me. I hate losing people money. Like I feel guilty. So this one won't be. My next one probably will be.
So, do you know anything about other matches on this card? Because I just saw a comment from Alex Willett Arm Wrestling, and I know that Alex Willett is on that card. We have Russians here in the US that are against the war. Artem made a thing about it. So, can you explain or just give some details about the other matches on the card as well?
Yeah, so let me try to remember all of them. You have Alex Willett. He's going to be pulling Kyle DePew. Kyle's flying in from California. Alex is there in Michigan. That should be a good match. I would have to give the edge to Kyle. Both of them are my friends, but Kyle has been pulling longer than I have pulling. And Alex, I believe, is only a few years in the sport. He's just starting to test the waters in the pro division. So he's coming in as the underdog, in my opinion, there. You have Tim Lewis is pulling Scott Ballinger. So Scott Ballinger, if you don't know him, he's been in the sport a really long time. He hasn't been as active the last 4 or 5 years, but I did see him at Michigan State's last year, and he won the 242 division pretty easily. The 220 division pretty easily. So he's really, really strong. Tim Lewis has been looking really good on the left arm. Scott Ballinger should be the favorite there, but that's a really interesting match. I expect it to be just a hook battle, a grinder. Then you have Cole Casper is pulling Caleb Rott. Caleb last year, Michigan State's, I believe, took second place in the 176 class. Cole Casper, he's young. I think he's 18 or 19, and he's on a huge upswing right now. So again, a really good match. I'm going to go with Cole on that one, but it could go either way. There's There's 2 other matches, but I can't remember them.
It is saying Ermes versus Ferrolo. I cannot pronounce that name. And the other match is Lance versus Lee.
Yeah, so Manny is pulling Philip Aarons, I think. Manny is the weird last name. I have. I don't think I've pulled Manny, and I've pulled Philip a little bit. I don't have enough information on that. I think it's a Michigan State ranking match. I think that Philip is ranked at one spot above Manny. So, based off of that information, you should say Philip is probably the favorite there over Manny. Again, I don't have enough information there, so I'm not going to call it. I want to, what I want to see is a close match. I don't like to see 3-0 blowouts unless they're mine. Anyone else pulling, I want to see 3-2 wars, like long drawn out, just exciting stuff. That's what the fans want to see. And then it's Lee and Lance. Again, I don't have too much information on those two either, so I can't weigh in too much there.
Again, 89 live viewers right now. The link to the pay-per-view, guys, is in the description, and please subscribe to Chan Shaw's YouTube channel and other platforms as well. There was one interesting comment. I'm going to read it and move forward without taking your take on it, because we have already discussed it. From MR Route, he's saying that if Vitaly is banned, he's out of top 8, and basically right now there is no top 8 because Igor is not able to promote, because all of his events are very high level, and for that, during these situations, everything needs to fall in place for such high events to take place. So some guy also mentioned in the comments that there is no top 8 anyways right now. So
Yeah, I mean,
217, yeah, please.
sorry, I know you said you didn't need me to touch in. But from what I've heard, I think top 8 is almost done. Like Kodecha is not pulling in top 8 anymore. Obviously, Ermes isn't pulling in top 8 anymore. Obviously, it doesn't seem like Chaffee is. Like, doesn't seem like all the athletes that were part of it are even worried about it. So I'm not even sure it's going to finish this season.
Boji Troll is asking, what are Chance's thoughts on PEDs in arm wrestling?
I think that if you're competing in tested leagues or in tested events, that you should be completely natural. You shouldn't be on anything. You shouldn't try to manipulate the test or come off in time for it not to show up on the blood work. I think that is wrong. But if you're competing in an untested event, if you're competing against Levon or someone like that, and you decide that's something that you want to do, I don't think that there's anything that should hold you back necessarily if you're comfortable with it. Of course, there's health risks and things like that, but that's up to each person to make the decision. I only think it's unfair when it's supposed to be a tested event.
Right. I also have the same opinion on this. Like, if you are competing in WAF or such tournaments, I think you should be completely clean. If you're not, you should not be going there. And there should be separate professional events where athletes are allowed to take whatever they want. And of course, when the sport gets big, I think testing will be there everywhere. So I think it will be inevitable, and still athletes may find ways around it, but there will be testing everywhere. Like UFC is a huge sport. It is testing. Like WWE also mentions for some reason all the banned substances that the athletes cannot take. I'm not sure if they're ever testing them. So
Yeah.
Brad Cook 217 is also going to the event Chance show. He's asking you a question: where does Chance see his channel in another year from now?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I think a big portion of it is it comes down to my dedication to it. I try to stay as dedicated as possible, and if I stay dedicated, I really think that I can turn it into my income, enough to live off of. The goal really is just to connect with as many people as possible, and by doing so, that ends up through views. It ends up paying me to live. So I've been talking with people like Michael and Rebecca on ways that they're doing things, and Ryan Bowen on the way he's doing things to try to get some motivation and some ideas on how to grow my platform and how to monetize certain avenues. So in a year from now, I would hope to be at 20,000 subscribers. That's my current goal, and I would hope that it's at least paying enough to cover my arm wrestling expenses.
It is paying me enough to cover all my expenses. I'm very lucky with honestly.
Yeah, that's not. Maybe I'll just move to India, and then I think my expenses will be good.
Right, definitely. It is a wise thing to do if that is your goal. So let's read the chat. Eric Shader is saying, I really respect Chance's emotional stance, reminds me of Derek Smith.
Thank you.
I'm guys. I'm going to have to read all the chats to Chan Shaw. He only has one phone with him, so maybe he cannot read the chats
I
because he
can.
has
I'm
his
sorry.
Zoom window open. Let's 217 commenting. Let's see if there are any other questions. Till then, if you want to add something, Chance, I'm reading, trying to find some interesting questions.
No, I'm not too sure what else there is to touch on. Um, we've already kind of touched on the fact that I was in Sweden for 10 weeks prepping for this. We've touched on my new strength training program. We've touched on kind of my game plan for TODD Hutchings. I think we've touched on most everything about this event. I just ask, support the event. I don't have a slice of the pie, so it doesn't make a difference to me personally if you're supporting the event or not. But Steve Pettis is putting a lot on the line to put together an amazing card with amazing athletes and an amazing production. So if you can support the event, the pay-per-view is on armsporthub.com. It's $5. It's very inexpensive. I think it's affordable for just about everyone. And just tune in and watch it. It starts at 12. It should be wrapped up by 1. And then you still have time to watch King of the Table 3 as well, because King of the Table 3 doesn't start until 3 p.m. So get over there, armsporthub.com. Buy the pay-per-views, $5. And then afterwards, go watch King of the Table 3. I don't know exactly how much that is off the top of my head. I'll be buying it. I'll be watching it while I'm at the Michigan State.
$10 it is.
It's $10, yeah. So a little bit more expensive, but they're bringing you world-class matches in Dubai. So their expenses are a bit higher too. So definitely, if you can support both events, it's a great way to support arm wrestling, and you're getting a product in return that's really worth the value.
Right. We have 2 questions for you, Chance, in the chat. One is from our European viewer. Unfortunately, I cannot read your name. Chance, do you have any wishes to perform at WAF?
Not necessarily. WAF isn't my cup of tea. I really enjoy super matches, so that's kind of my main focus. Not to say that I won't ever pull a tournament. I'd like to pull Zloty. I've pulled WAF in the past. I pulled it in 2016 in Bulgaria. It's just not to. I'm sorry, maybe it was 2017. I can't actually remember. Not to say it's not an amazing event, but with everything, there's IFA going on, then there's WAF, so it's a little bit diluted. Then there's COVID. Some athletes can't train, and now you have top 8, and now you have all the super matches. In my opinion, WAF or any world championship isn't quite as strong as it used to be. So at least for the time being, I'd rather stick to super matches.
So Lagia is asking, does he have a goal weight? What would he like to weigh in 1 year from now? So do you believe that heavier equals stronger?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately in general, mass moves mass. But if you're like 500 pounds of fat, I don't think that's helping you at all. Like if your arm can't hold on to it. So I wouldn't necessarily say I have a goal weight. And one thing is, don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty committed to doing a cut after this match. Like I'm going to work with a nutritionist and just try to get leaner and healthier. We'll see how I feel on the table at that. If I start feeling like I'm losing too much strength on the table or in the gym or anything like that, then I'll stop it. But who knows, 1 year from now, I might be 260 instead of 295. I might decide to say screw it and get to 350 as well. You know, I don't know what I want to do, but we'll see.
So another question, similar question, is Chance strict with his diet? How many calories per day?
Yeah, so I would say I'm eating like 80% clean and 20% whatever I feel like. I'm not tracking calories too much. I'm just tracking my protein intake is the biggest thing. But 80% of what I'm eating is like beef and rice, sometimes beans, sometimes potatoes instead of rice with vegetables. So that's 80% of my meals. I'm eating that all the time, but I'm a super heavyweight. So if I decide like I want some Taco Bell, like today I just ate Taco Bell. If I want that, I'm going to go eat it. It's not a huge factor, but being pretty strict 80% of the time, I've seen pretty good results. Like I said, I've leaned out a bit over the last 10 weeks.
Right. I wonder how much percentage of the 20% are contributed by gummy bears, which leads us to our next question from Simon A. Did Chance stop doing the gummy bears cycle, or will he keep doing it until it fails him?
Yeah, so I didn't have any gummy bears while I was in Sweden, unfortunately. But as soon as I got home, I was eating some. So I still think like they have their place. Gummy bears are amazing. Um, when you're flying, if you eat a bag of gummy bears and you drink a half gallon of water, you don't get dehydrated at all. I don't know exactly what it is in the gummy bears, but it really helps me hold on to the weight. I never want to be dehydrated when I'm coming off of a plane. So when I'm flying, I'm eating gummy bears and I'm drinking half a gallon of water with some electrolytes in it.
All right.
But I'm not gummy bear Shaw anymore. I'm sorry.
Mohammed Sajid is asking chances top 8 in USA right now. Brother, for that you will have to go to In the Hook rankings on Facebook. Chance has already told us about his top 8 in the USA. And people have already started asking about King of the Table events. We will get to it in a minute. Before that, MR Route is asking, will Chance participate in the next East versus West or King of the Table event? If so, whom would you like to pull?
So I have not got contacted by King of the Table to pull on their card as of now. So maybe that changes after Saturday if I perform the way I want to. But as of now, I have nothing with King of the Table. As far as East versus West, Ingen wanted me on this third card. He gave me an offer. I accepted it. He just couldn't find me an opponent that he thought fits well. So I will not be on East versus West 3. Hopefully, I'll be on East versus West 4, which is already planned, I think, for August, if I'm not mistaken. Who do I want to pull? I want to pull Schoolboy. I've been trying to pull Schoolboy for a while, but it seems like his brother doesn't like me too much and won't let him accept the match. So I know that he's had offers from multiple promoters to pull me, but he has yet to accept. So one day I hope that changes, and I hope that we could just arm wrestle and have some fun. But I mean, that's the main guy I'd like to pull, just because we're both young and we're both improving constantly, and I think it's a match a lot of people would enjoy to watch.
Yeah. For those of you who will be watching this stream after it has ended, please, first of all of you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Chance's channel as well. The links to the pay-per-view will be in the description. And for those of you who are watching this after it has ended, please send this timestamp to Schoolboy's brother, Alex Toproll, and tell him that he doesn't like, ask him why doesn't he like Chance, or why isn't he willing to give him a super match against Schoolboy. I think right now, what do you think? His brother is deciding who he gets to compete against him
100%.
or not?
100%. I mean, Alex his brother, Alex, Armwrestling TV, has created this brand of Schoolboy, and he's protecting the brand, and he's doing a wonderful job at promoting it and everything. So I think it's maybe like he only wants to pick matches that he's confident Schoolboy can win, so he can keep the Schoolboy undefeated brand continuing to go, which I don't blame him at all. But just come on, make sure your brother's strong so he can beat me, and then he can accept the match.
Right. And you're not even 2 years older than him, I believe.
No, I think he's 21 or something.
22.
I'm 20.
I think he's 22 right now.
Okay, he's 22. I'm 23. So I mean, that's pretty close.
And yeah, weight wise also, he has the height advantage, you have slight weight advantage. I think.
Yeah, about 275, 270, something like that.
Yeah, I think
And
it should definitely be a good match. And on the same day, so I think the difference between King of the Table 3 and your event, Michigan State event, which is going to be on pay-per-view, again, links in the description. I think the difference is 3 or 3.5 hours, something like that. Your event, Chance, starts on 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and after 3 or 3.5 hours after that, I think King of the Table 3 starts. So let's start with KOTT 3 events. Sarah versus Gabby. We'll try to cover all of the matches in about 10-15 minutes if we can. Sarah versus Gabby, what are your thoughts about it?
So Sarah versus Gabby, I think it's probably the two strongest women on the planet right now. Gabby obviously dominated Sarah when they pulled in the WAL. 2019, was it? Or was it 2018?
2019.
So last time they pulled, Gabby completely dominated Sarah. Sarah ended up getting injured. I think it was number one, Sarah hadn't been back in the sport that long. Number two, I don't think that she was as motivated to train, because in Florida and really in the US, there's not good competition for her, if we're being honest. So I think that fired up Sarah. I know that she's been training really hard. I've had the opportunity to grip up with her a few times. That being said, I still think Gabby's a really heavy favorite in this match. So I'm rooting for Sarah. She's Swedish, but she's been in Florida now for a long time. So I'm always going to root for my Florida crew. I'm rooting for Sarah. Gabby has to be the favorite. If I'm betting, I'm going Gabby, but I'm not betting, so I'm going to go Sarah on this one, 4-2.
Right. I have Gabby predicted in this match 6-0 or maybe 5-1 because of one fact that I don't really feel comfortable betting against history until something has changed drastically. I asked
Mm-hmm.
Gabby, I messaged her, and she was kind enough to tell me the history between both of them, the super match history I'm talking about. So in 2012, they faced each other at an arm wars event, both right and left handed. In that match, Sarah absolutely destroyed Gabby, 6-0 left handed and 5-1 right handed. She defeated her everywhere, inside, outside, everywhere. In 2013, Gabby came back and she defeated Sarah 5-0 in a right-handed super match. And in 2019 as well, she defeated her 3-0. So Gabby has the equal number of wins, but she has the momentum. And I would have loved to see them go both left and right-handed. Maybe King of the Table should have done that.
Yeah, I agree. Left and right would have been awesome. And in that case, if they were doing left and right, I'd give the edge to Sarah on the left, based on history, like you said. And dude, I have you ever you've never gripped up with Sarah or Gabby, have you?
Of course not.
No, okay, I think so, but maybe at an event somewhere. Gabby's come to Florida a few times, and Sarah and Gabby didn't pull at that point. But dude, if you let her get into her spot and her hook, like she's here, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like, what is this? This is a 176-pound woman, and I can't pull through her hook. She's incredible. So yeah, Gabby should definitely have the edge if you're betting.
Your audio did cut off a little bit for me. I think it is for me only, not for the viewers. You're talking about Gabby when you're mentioning in a hook.
Yeah, yeah. So
Right.
I let Gabby hit into a hook like here, maybe it was 2017 or something like that. She was in Florida. And I was like, okay, I'll let her hit like I'm used to pulling with women. So I let her hit, and then I tried to pull back through it, and I just couldn't, which is incredible.
I
She's
think
super.
around the same time it was in Florida also. Ron Bath also had the same
It was
experience.
the same. It was the same day.
Yeah, same day.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that thing was brought up. Ron Bath was saying that she like couldn't really immediately pull her back from that hook, that sweet spot that she has. And Neil Pickup was not agreeing with that. Neil was saying that maybe it is something wrong with Ron Bath if she is not able to bring Gabby back from there.
I mean, it was after pulling. So Ron had pulled the tournament, but she had pulled her tournament too. So I mean, even still, Ron Bath was healthy. He took first place, and I think he won overalls that day as well. And so we know it was a really good version of Ron, and he could not pull through it. She is scary strong in her spot.
There is one comment from Jaden Zimit. It is not directed towards you, but I think you would like to answer that. The fact that Larry can beat Chance in practice only means that he is greatly improved since he lost to Schoolboy.
Yeah, Larry has definitely improved since he lost to Schoolboy. He's been training really hard. Um, that I guess that's all I have to say.
And Rob is saying that Chance, I'm a big fan of yours, but you are getting your head rubbed.
Hey, if it happens, it happens. Like I said, if Todd beats me in the best form I've been in, he earns to rub my head.
Right. So let's talk about the other match now. Larry Wheels versus Khalid Jashel. How do you
Mhm.
see that one going?
6-0 Larry. Pretty convincingly. I think Ryan Bone was talking about Larry needs the straps and he's not good at slipping. I don't think any of that matters. Like, Larry is so much stronger than last time they pulled. And when I was in Dubai, I had a chance to grip up with Khalid just a little bit, and I had a chance to grip up with Larry, obviously, as everyone saw. They're on different levels. Khalid has been training for MMA for the last couple of years and not doing anything arm wrestling related. And Larry has basically only been doing arm wrestling. So I don't think that there's anyone out there with crazy enough genetics that doesn't train arm wrestling to just walk in and beat Larry Wheels at this point. I think he's solidified himself as an arm wrestler. So yeah, I don't think it'll be too close. Larry 6-0.
I would like to add a couple of things to that. So when Levan visited Dubai, I think he visited there twice. It was the second time, maybe. No, second time was with you. Maybe before
Mhm.
that. So it was less than a year ago, and then Khalid came back for a moment and he gripped up with Larry Wheels. And outside of straps, it was still the same thing. Larry couldn't do anything. Like if you gave Larry $1 million to slip out of Khalid's hand, he couldn't that day. So,
Mhm.
what makes you think it is changed right now? Can Larry
Yeah,
force the hook? I am quite sure even now that Larry is not going to slip out of his hand. Maybe he can force the hook inside without the straps.
yeah. So, what makes the difference in my head is the fact that that was when I think that was when Levon was just visiting for like leisure. That's not when he was training Larry Wheels. And then you fast forward a year or so, and he had trained Levon had then trained Larry Wheels for 3 months. I think he was there training him. I know the progress that I made when I started training with uh, the team in Sweden and training properly in the gym. I know the difference it made for me in 10 weeks. Now I can't imagine training with Levon, the strongest arm wrestler in the world, about arm wrestling for 3 months, 3+ months is not going to be beneficial. And like I said, I gripped up with him. I can feel the difference. Now, can Larry slip from Khalid? Probably not. He's not good at slipping, but I don't think that that's going to be a huge factor. I think that Larry's just going to jam forward in a hook. Khalid is going to go into the hook, and Larry's not going to feel him. It's going to be straight sideways.
Let's see how that goes. And we also have to take into account that Khalid probably has never trained for arm wrestling in past 5 6 months because he competed in MMA two times. Last week, maybe it was this week, 4 5 days ago it was, he competed and he won an MMA fight. So if 5 days ago it was his MMA fight, there is absolutely no way that he was training for arm wrestling. It is quite clear by now that he is training MMA, he's taking MMA far more seriously compared to arm wrestling. So
I do I do have a little bit of insider information on that. When I was in Dubai, I was hanging out with Badr at his house, and Badr and Khalid were there, and they were doing a little bit of arm wrestling. And I was asking Khalid, like, "Oh, are you arm wrestling?" He was like, "Yeah, like maybe once a month. He's training just for fun on arm wrestling." So I think he's still been doing it a little bit. It's not like his elbow hasn't been on the table at all. So he won't be super rusty, but he's definitely not training for it.
right. And we also have to take into account what Devon mentioned. When he was training for boxing, Devon said that his arms have loosened up a lot. And the next day, when he went on the table after his fight, the very next day he went on table in Dubai, like almost everyone was pinning him. Suhail was pinning him, everyone was pinning him. And he said that he lost a lot of arm wrestling strength. Maybe his range of motion improved because of throwing punches, so many punches. And maybe the same thing has happened with Khalid as well. It is not boxing, but you still throw a lot of punches in MMA as well.
It's totally possible. And to touch on that, my buddy Richard was in Dubai watching the fight. And after the fight, he arm wrestled him. Richard's a year into arm wrestling. So he's still amateur to low level, pro level. And he told me he was just dusting Devin on the left arm, which is just crazy to think about. You could lose that much strength. So if it transfers from boxing to arm wrestling, like MMA to arm wrestling, it's going to be a really bad day for Khalid.
Yeah. But again, you have to take into account another thing. Khalid said about a week or so ago that he doesn't even need to train to beat Larry Wheels.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
don't think
that,
that's
and chance, we cannot ignore the fact that that is the guy who has practiced with Larry Wheels and pretty serious, almost all out practices on the table multiple times with Larry Wheels. He probably knows Larry Wheels more than anyone else.
yeah, maybe so, but listen, my money is on Larry 6-0. What do you think?
Yeah. I think it is totally going to depend on rules. Like I still believe that Larry cannot force the hook outside of straps and he cannot slip. So if it starts without the straps, which I doubt it will until the rules have changed, I think Larry needs to be smart enough to just waste those 30 seconds and get to the straps, because it is history that even in practice Khalid has never beaten Larry Wheels, even when both of them were very much into the beginning of arm wrestling. Even then, Larry has never lost to Khalid inside the straps, and Larry has never been able to slip outside of straps. So if somehow the rules change that the 30-second strap rule is not applicable to that match, then I would have Khalid winning that match. Otherwise, Larry wins very comfortably 6-0. And I would also say that Larry's chances of winning without the straps are higher, much higher than Khalid's chances of winning inside the straps. Because it is not going to happen. Larry is totally going to dominate him once inside the straps. This is what I believe about the match.
Yeah.
And Neil Pickup is in the house. Welcome, Neil. It is on this weekend. Let's go.
Yeah. What's
So
up, Neil?
let's move on to the next match. And which one would you like to address first? Ermes versus Wagner or the main event?
Yeah, let's go, Ermes and Wagner.
Left-handed super match. I believe it is very difficult. In the beginning, I was thinking that Wagner is a 4 times WAF champion. Ermes has not won Zloty or WAF titles on the left arm. Maybe Wagner is going to take it. But then we haven't seen really high-level performances from Wagner also. Like not from Ermes as well, but Ermes has that one win over Krasimir Kostadinov, who is definitely top 10 in the world left-handed. So what do you think about that match?
I think it's the most difficult. I mean, this and the next match are difficult to predict, in my opinion, but this is probably the most difficult to predict because we don't have much information left-handed from Ermes. Like, there's a little bit, but not much. And we have like nothing from Wagner. The last time he pulled, I'm pretty sure, was Devon and WAL, unless did he end up pulling? I think him and Michael were supposed to have a left-handed match. Did that end up happening after the arm break?
Which match? When are you talking about? Your audio was cutting for me.
Oh, sorry about that. I thought Wagner and Michael were supposed to pull left-handed after Wagner broke Michael's arm, but I don't remember the timeline or if that happened. Are you familiar with it, if that happened?
No, it was at Armboard, so Neil Pickup is, I think, for sure going to remind us what happened then. It was back then. They were supposed to face left-handed, and I'm not sure about any other match. Maybe Neil can correct us.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to happen like within the last few years. But regardless, even if it did, it hasn't been that recent. So the most recent match that we have is him and Devon, and I don't really know what to make out of that match. Devon controlled it pretty well. Wagner found a spot and got one pin. If Devon wasn't allowing him to do that, I don't know. Cut out there for a second, or is it good?
Yeah. No, your audio was you were audible.
Oh, sorry. So it's hard to know. Like you said, in the past, he's won WAF 4 times. Back when Michael Todd's left arm was good, he broke Michael Todd's left arm. Like, he has a lot of history about around his left. And if he is showing up in that shape, then I think that I'm pretty confident saying that Wagner will win. But if not, who knows? Because how strong is Ermes on the left arm today? When was his match with Krasimir?
Ermes,
yeah,
whose match?
Yeah, sorry, Ermes and Krasimir.
Ermes versus Krasimir, I think, was 2019 Zloty, I think.
And that's the last match that he's pulled left-handed?
Yes, I think so. 2018 or 2019 Zloty.
Yeah, so really, it's hard to predict. My gut tells me I'm going to go with Ermes because he's a more technical arm wrestler, and I think he can expose Wagner's wrist. But who knows?
Yeah. Okay, so you were asking about, from Neil's comment, I'm getting it what you were asking. I was not able to understand. Neil is saying, I think they pulled again over in Brazil, and that was quite a few years ago. So I think it was in 2018 where Wagner defeated Michael Todd, I think 5-0 or 6-0, something like that, and it wasn't even close. Like, he was literally playing with Michael Todd in that match. Now I remember it.
So if that was 2018, that would have been
I don't know if, Chance, you know Tiago or not. Tiago is also he's a 105 kg guy from Brazil. He had a super match recently in 2020 against Wagner. And Devon has also practiced with him. Maybe you guys can search the guys in the comments can search Devon versus Tiago practice. So he's not really elite level, but he's good. And Wagner just destroyed him 3-0. And it was like really fast presses like Michael Todd. So this is why I believe under strict rules, in King of the Table, there is going to be a lot of loading. So under strict rules, I think Wagner could have surprised Ermes Gasparini with his press because he's almost like Michael Todd with his fast shoulder roll, left-handed. But maybe he can. I asked Devon about it. Devon, could you have top rolled Wagner in 2018 19, because it is clear that Ermes is not beating Wagner in a hook. He has to top roll
No.
him. This is what I think. And Devon told me that he doesn't know. Like, he just said for him hook was a easier path, so he
Yeah.
automatically went there and defeated him.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, really, if the last time that Wagner pulled the Brazilian guy you're talking about, I did see that match, but that's not enough information. He was supposed to destroy the dude he was pulling. So if Wagner hasn't pulled anyone serious since 2019, Ermes hasn't pulled anyone serious since 2019, it's hard to know. But based off of styles, if Ermes is pulling left like he's pulling right, I have to give it to Ermes.
Right. For me, it is a really difficult match to predict because we saw how bad of a shape Wagner showed up at the WL event against Devon Red. I know Devon has great endurance, but if you watch him carefully, even when he arrived at the table after the first slip, he was slapping the table and slapping himself in the head. Even then, he was totally gassed out. It was getting really difficult for Wagner to breathe even before round one started inside the straps. So if he comes in such a cardiovascular shape, I think Ermes is going to take it. So I'm going to. Earlier, I was saying that Wagner may take this match. Right now, I'm kind of having some difficult time because Wagner is still very heavy. He's around 140 kilos and totally jacked. But that
Nope.
still takes something away from your endurance. I think I would go with Hermes 4-2 in this match, but maybe I might change my opinion on this because it is really
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Right. So the final match, Alex Kodecha versus Dave Chaffee, who is a replacement for Vitaly Leletin. First, it was supposed to be Alex versus Vitaly. Alex versus Dave right now. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a difficult one to predict because one, I don't know how strong Dave is still since his surgery. He's told me that he's on a little bit of a downhill slope. And two, I don't know how strong Alex is because we haven't seen him get tested since his match with Krasi. But I think that he has improved a ton since that. So there's again a lot of unknown factors. I think this is a really, 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 really entertaining match because we get to find out a lot of answers. In the past, really the way that you beat Dave Chaffee is you're just ungodly strong, like Levon or Dennis, or you can King's move like Michael or like Devin. Outside of that, I don't think anyone has beaten him. I think John has pinned him once, in like Russian A1 or something.
2014 or 15 it was 2014 it was, but before
Yeah,
that Dave Chaffee had a really long war with Denis Siplenkov, and
exactly.
John has himself mentioned many times that he wouldn't have beaten Dave that day if it wasn't for Denis Siplenkov match before his match.
Right. So we can kind of get rid of that. Now, is Alex strong enough to dominate Dave in the way that he has to in order to win? I don't know. Like, I don't know if Alex is ready or if he still needs a year or two more to develop. That's going to be the biggest question is, does Alex have the strength to pull it off? He has the height. He has the hand. I think he has the technical ability. It's just, I don't know if he's strong enough. My gut tells me he is strong enough, but I'll be rooting for Dave. I wouldn't argue against anyone if they want to bet anyway. 6-0 either athlete, 5-1 either athlete, 4. It doesn't matter. I think it can go any way here.
So rooting for someone is different than a prediction chance. We want predictions here.
Uh, Alex Kodecha 4-2. I think Dave's wrist ends up gassing out, and we saw Dave's wrist gas out against Gennady when they pulled. I want to say it was like 2017. Dave dominated the first 3 rounds. The 4th round was a bit tougher, and then the second 2 rounds he lost because his wrist was fatigued and busted back. Then Dave in his match, I can't remember who it was against, but to get his top 8 spot, it seemed like his wrist started to fatigue a little bit. Now I think that Alex Kodecha is really going to test the wrist of Dave. I think it's going to end up giving a little bit earlier than it did with the other 2, and he's going to win 4-2. But I'm hoping Dave wins.
I think that Alex is going to take this match 6-0 because we have seen in the past that even when we are talking about the King's move, the vulnerability in those matches is Dave's wrist. His arm has never been vulnerable. And if we talk about the transition match against Rimkus, his wrist was getting slightly busted back, but his pronation was too much and side pressure was too much. The only chance I might see that Dave might have in that match is with a slightly broken wrist, but his pronation intact. It's kind of similar to how John Brazing defeated you in that match. That may
Yep.
be his only chance, but I don't think it is going to work because, like, if we have seen Alex Kodecha's pronation, like, I'm not sure if there are many people who can keep their wrist flat against Alex Kodecha right now. Even in 2000, back in 2018-19, when he was losing to Krasimir and Ongarbayev, they were defeating him like this. Alex just
Yep.
doesn't take your wrist like this. He completely folds it back like this. So I
Yeah.
think he's going to do that, and it is Dave Chaffee's vulnerability. I'm not sure if there are even three guys in the world that Alex Kodecha cannot top roll right now. And when was the last time we have seen Dave Chaffee fight in a match like that? I think for sure Alex is faster than Dave, and he's going to take him to the B side, and he's going to compromise his wrist. And Chance, have you ever seen Dave Chaffee win a match from this position?
No, but if you watch when Dave Chaffee pulled Devin in that position, if it was not WAO pads, I think in that position he would have pinned Devin. So I don't think it's an impossible feat.
Right. But that was an offensive position. There is a big difference here. Dave
Was it?
Chaffee,
I thought he was here and then he dropped his body. No?
no, he was never here. Devon was completely stretched out like this. So of course Dave Chaffee was
Right.
offensive winning side like this. His wrist was like this.
That's right.
So it wasn't like this time. It is going to be this side. It is going to be like
But
this.
I'm not sure I have ever seen Dave Chaffee get in a position like that in a fresh round where he's here and has to fight back. Who has put him in that position before? That's the other thing. Fresh.
Right.
Of course, I think Gennady did in round 5 or 6, but that was round 5 or 6. Who's done it round 1 or 2? Maybe nobody. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe nobody. Maybe Travis back in 2016, 2015. It was kind of close. Dave Chaffee was still on the winning side even from the go. 2016 it was really fast, and Travis pinned him even before the ref said go. So we cannot really take much from that match, right? But he hasn't faced somebody of Alex Kodecha's caliber. I'm talking about pronation, not the arm strength. Just talking about the pronation. Levan was there, but we cannot really take anything from that match as well. It
Right.
was quite one-sided.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
let's
And also,
let's
when
yeah.
is the last time Dave Chaffee has pulled someone that's 6'9" or 6'8" or whatever?
Never.
Yeah, so I don't know how he's going to do against such a long lever because that makes a big difference for a lot of different people. That's a lie. He pulled Wayne Withers. Wayne Withers is 6'8", but Wayne Withers is
Yeah.
Wayne Withers, not Alex Kodecha, so can't gather too
And
much.
even
there.
if you watch that Wayne Withers match carefully, there was moments where Dave Chaffee's wrist from the starting position like this went slightly like this.
Yeah.
And then he was able to top roll Wayne Withers after that with his pronation. I'm not sure if Alex takes anything from him because you may have seen, considering Alex Kodecha's size, he's really fast. Like against the Krasi match,
Oh.
right after the go, the match was going here. Krasi beat
Yep.
him from a losing position. Ongarbayev is only 100 kilos, but Alex Kodecha was faster than him. Alex was faster than Ermes Gasparini. Alex was faster than Tobias Sporong. Maybe not faster than Ryan, but he's almost always faster than his opponents.
Yep. That's true.
So yeah, speed I think is also going to play a big factor in that match. This is why I think it will be a convincing and easy 6-0 for Alex Kodecha. There was one interesting comment, I cannot remember the name. So the question was, if arm wrestling is not paying your bills right now and you have left your job, then how are you managing right now?
Savings. and my savings are running low, so something's going to have to happen or I'm going to be working again.
Right. It was a question from Wander Knabe from Germany. Let's try to read some other comments, then we'll end this live stream. And before that, guys, please buy the pay-per-view. Chance Shaw's match against Todd Hutchings is also on the same date before the King of the Table 3 event, so you can enjoy both events without any problem. It is going to be on pay-per-view. Link is in the description. The time is 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 2nd April. Is there any interesting comment? I pulled in it in 2 years. Do you have any message for Todd Hanks till I read the comments?
I don't necessarily have any messages for Todd Hutchings. I just hope that he takes me as serious as possible. I don't want him to give me a sliver of any lane. Like I want him to go 100%, try to flash spin me. I want the best version going at 100%. So my message, if Todd watches this, please do your best to flash spin me because I'll be doing the same to you.
Right. Neil Pickup mentioned something about the Alex versus Dave match. I think Alex is strong enough if he can get any kind of purchase on Dave's hand and wrist. Dave takes a very different angle in brackets, as Chance will know. He is stylistically unorthodox.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
So Neil was there and commentating. Okay. So this time the commentators for the East versus West event are going to be Coach Ray and Adam Silvers. Nothing against those guys, but commentary is a real good thing. And it is kind of a big downgrade, I would say, not to be disrespectful, from Neil Pickup going to Adam Silvers and Coach Ray. What do you think about commentators and commentary in general about arm wrestling events? How important do you think it is?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that people are going to start to realize is extremely important is a good commentator. In all other sports, you have amazing commentators, people that are really either have been part of the sport or legends in the sport or really know the sport. So I love Adam and I love Coach Ray, but I think Neil is the man when it comes to commentary. It's just about I do think having it done from somewhere remote is not ideal. So it has to be within the budget to fly him to the event. I would almost rather Coach Ray there than Neil on the phone or something like that.
Again, no disrespect. Adam is a great guy. He watches my videos, often comments under those videos as well. But about a month ago, up till a month ago, at least I know about that, he wasn't even able to pronounce the names of the athletes correctly. I'm not sure how he's going to commentate on these matches. And somebody mentioned in the past that I should be commentating on King of the Table matches. And I was like, are you crazy? I'm at least 5-6 years away from that, doing anything like that. But right now, seeing the situation right now, I may not be that far away. I believe I can have a lot to add to those matches. So I'll add
Yeah.
one more comment from Neil. Neil is saying that if Dave could close his wrist and set his dragging hook, he has enough power to win the match. But I believe Alex is explosive enough and powerful enough to make it a very difficult task to stop him.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like I said, if I'm betting money, I'm going with Alex. I think it'll be 4-2, but again, I won't argue that it won't be 6-0 either. But my heart is for Dave. I'm rooting for him.
So you kind of answered it, but Levan Saginashvili's kidney is asking, Chance, you did better in hook than top roll against Andres. Do you still think that top roll is a better option for you? Is it your main weapon?
I've been working to have multiple weapons now for a long time. I've been working on my hook for like the last 3 years. I just haven't used it. I used it a little bit against Sandra, so now people know it's there. Do I think that the top roll is my best weapon? I think it's going to vary opponent to opponent, but I like the fact that I have options now. So if I'm going against a really strong top roller and I can't match their hand, I know that I have the ability to shoot inside with them and test them there. But against Hutchings, of course, my top roll is still my better ability. Like my hook is good and it's improving, but Todd Hutchings is one of the best in the world inside.
Right. I was about to end this live stream, but another interesting comment from MR out. He's asking whether you will pull Derek Smith or not.
One day down the road, Derek and I will pull. Derek and I still, I mean, we're friends and we talk and we still don't have any aspirations to pull each other, but who knows? Like if we both win our matches, maybe it happens down the road. It will happen 100% before we both stop arm wrestling. It's just, it might not be as soon as people want.
Right. So guys, again, links to Chan Shaw's social media platforms in the description. Please subscribe on every platform if you can, on all of them. And the link to the pay-per-view is also on the description, in the description. April 2nd, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, $5 pay-per-view. Please support the event. And thank you, brother, for joining. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Pradeep. I appreciate it.
So let's end this live stream. And thank you guys in the chat. Please subscribe to my channel as well. I forgot to mention that. Please. Thank you.